So congenital causes of ventricle obstruction. Basically, if you obstruct the ventricles, your CSF does not flow. CSF builds up in your ventricles and they enlarge. The first cause of this is Kyary1 Malformation. The root cause of this all is there's a small skull. Okay, so instead of this normal nice looking skull, the skull is actually really small in the back. Okay, and it compresses everything back there, including the cerebellum. Cerebellum has tonsils, so everything compresses. Let me redo this. Everything compresses. This is our small skull. And then this will compress. This is the cerebellar tonsil. It's going to compress through the foramen magnum, which is illustrated here as this little circle here. That's where the cerebellum normally sits on top of. If you have enough pressure, it's going to push through. This is congenital. It's normally asymptomatic in childhood, okay? It only gets really bad when they're adults, and they will present with headache and then cerebellar dysfunction. The next one is Kyary2. Kyary2 is worse than 1. You can remember that there are 2 structures involved in Kyary2. It's the cerebellar tonsils and the vermis, so 2 structures in Kyary2. Otherwise, very similar. But again, 2 structures, so it's worse. You present in infancy instead of adulthood, and you can get blockage of the sylvius, aqueductive sylvius, leading to hydrocephalus. Okay. Note that this is also associated with meningomyelocele. You remember from the name, I already explained to you that meningo was the meninges and myelo was for the spinal cord. So that was in the lower. It can be anywhere down in the spinal cord, and that's this missing part of the vertebral arch, so the spinal cord and the meninges can push out and cause a cystic mass, and that is not good. So the next one and the last one is Dandy-Walker syndrome. This is due to an absence of the cerebellar vermis. Okay, there is no vermis here. There is no cerebellar vermis. So where you would normally have a cerebellar vermis, there is nothing. There's no cerebellum in this picture here, and instead what you see is all this darker liquid. That is the 4th ventricle, because it then enlarges and and basically fills up that space where that cerebellar vermis would have been. So that is Dandy-Walker syndrome. It is enlargement of the 4th ventricle due to absence of the cerebellar vermis. Alright, so that's it for congenital causes of ventricle obstruction. I think it's all in all, it's pretty simple. Just sum up, Kyary1, only 1 structure, so less symptomatic in childhood. Kyary2, 2 structures, more symptoms, including meningomyelocele, symptomatic in infancy. And then Dandy-Walker is the one that has absence of cerebellar vermis leading to enlargement of 4th ventricle. All right.